Well, hello, hello, hello. Happy Thursday. Golly, it's already Thursday. What a week it's been already. Holy moly. Good to see everybody. Let me say hi before I bring up our Guerrero Alley. Hey, Crime Crochet and Coffee. Hey, Kim. Hey, Christine. Hey, A Million Sparkles. Preschool Granny. Hey, I've learned a lot. Hey, Ange, which I didn't highlight because it's not clicking. Hi. Hi, Teacup Kraken. Hi, Petunia. Hey, Neat Noodle. Hey, Christy. Oh, I'm glad you guys like the intro. Hey, Tess. Hey, Rachel. Good to see you. There's Nightbot. I don't need to highlight Nightbot. All right, I think I got. Oh, wait. Hold on. Did I get everybody? Yeah. Oh, another Amy. Hey. Good to see everybody. All right. Well, let me bring Allie up without further ado so we can get to it because we have a lot to go over tonight. Here we go. Hi. How are you?
I'm
Hey.
okay. How are you?
I'm good. I'm tired, but I'm frustrated too. You know what had happened?
What?
Okay. So I thought I would do something nice, right? And I was going to upload the intro members only. I uploaded that thing at 7 o'clock. It still says on YouTube, processing will begin shortly. I was like, bruh,
Sounds
2 hours
like
to
you're using my
process
internet.
a 4 minute video. It's YouTube. It's not me. It's uploaded. It's processing.
Oh,
It's their stuff. So I said, no, I shall delete it and I will do something else for members. I don't know what I'll do, but I'll figure something out because that really made me so mad. Oh, it made me so mad. Well, did you watch the trial today? Both,
well,
either one,
yes.
both of them?
I watched both of them some. So I started with Karen, then I went and listened to some of Heather's testimony, but I was just trying to listen again just now. But I know you're going to play some anyway, so
Oh,
it'll
yeah.
be better because I grasped some of it now, but I don't think that I was able to grasp it all.
It's a lot. It was
Mm-hmm.
a lot. It was a lot. All
Well, and she
right.
was on for a long time. Like today, when I was trying to catch up and see like what all I needed to watch before the live, I was watching, but there was a lot. And even I haven't seen, like, because you said make sure to watch the cross. So I
Yeah.
was watching that. But when I was looking for that at first, I ended up watching some of the redirect cross, like, or something. But it seemed like the redirect was quite long, was it?
No, not that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, look, I might have came in a little late on Heather. So where I came in was he had handed her that letter and that she or the email,
Mm-hmm.
and she was looking over it. And at first, I thought something was wrong with me because I couldn't hear anything, but I wasn't even going to be like one of those people who asks in chat, "Where's the sound?" Because I felt like, let me just zoom in first. So I zoomed in and I could see that nobody's mouths were moving. So I knew right then it was that they weren't talking. So there was nothing for me to hear. So it wasn't a
Yes.
me issue and it wasn't anybody else's issue. It was just what was going on in the court. And so um, I was like, okay. So I kept watching, and that's where I started, right there. And I thought that was the beginning of his cross, but evidently I missed it. Um,
Yes. So I noticed that when I was just now trying to like rewatch that there was a long period of silence and that yeah, there was a because I kept like going in and out to see if like I was the same way. Am I not like is it me? What are they doing? And then you could see like prior for part of it was standing at the podium, but for part of it he wasn't. So trying to find the spot like using the thing at the bottom was pretty hard to do.
yeah, yeah. It was kind of a mess today. And let's look at what Crystal D wrote. Hey guys, I know this is off topic, but my grandma backed over my grandpa in the driveway, dropping him off, and it was a bad head injury and a coma for 3 weeks. He's lost
Oh,
his sense of smell forever. Oh, I'm so sorry, Crystal. I'm
so
so
sorry
sorry.
too.
That's that's got to be scary. Well, I hope.
Oh, she says it was a long time ago, but just saying how a little car hitting somebody
Oh,
can cause head injury.
yes, yes. I mean, okay, so the thing with Karen Reed, can the injuries to the back of his head be sustained by being hit by a car? Yes. But I would think that there would be other injuries. For example, usually when you're hit with a vehicle, inertia, you're not moving. My physical science teacher's about to be really proud of me right now. So you're not moving, you're standing still, but the vehicle is moving and it continues to push. So the force against you will fling you, which usually results in you have to stop at some point. And when you hit the ground is what stops you, but you're still got a little energy left from the inertia of the push. And usually you
Mm-hmm.
get a little road rash. It depends on, there's a lot of things that it depends on, like how fast it's going, did they stop when they realized they hit something? Um, I just, I that's why I'm really keeping my mind open to all of it until we hear from the medical examiner, because I know he's probably going to, he's going to be the state's witness, unless, and I don't know if the defense has their own um
Yeah.
with
Oh, I bet
expert
they do.
witness, that their own pathologist that looked over the autopsy. So I'm going to keep my mind completely open to every possibility, including the possibility of guilt, um, until I
Yeah,
hear
same.
all of the evidence, because I think that's all that I can do.
Yeah, I
You
agree with
know,
you. Well, yeah. I mean, today they talked a little bit about the injuries, like, because it was first responders again. I like to hear from them, but I'm really looking forward to hearing from the people, like the other people that aren't first responders, their friends and stuff, the homeowners, and the detective and the medical examiner. The first responders, we're still hearing about this. I hit him, is he dead? And this
yes,
body cam footage and stuff. And it's just like, yeah, I'm just ready for the next part.
yes, and I agree. I agree. Crystal, yes, it's important. That doesn't have to be going that fast. You're right. But this is where I'm at with it. Okay. I think the reason, Allie, that all those first responders are on the stand so quickly is because the state is working really, really hard to get it in all of the jurors' minds that she said she hit him. She acknowledged that she did it. It's, you know, a confession of sorts. And
Yeah.
they want that to be firmly embedded in the jurors' minds. And,
Yeah.
uh, you know, here's my thing. I am the kind of person who I will listen and I will hear, but I want to see what the evidence actually says. Okay. Because even if she did scream it, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, and it was an exclamation point, not a question mark. Okay. Even if she did say that, if the injuries sustained do not match that story, then there's a problem. We see it all the time in true crime cases. Look at Letitia and the million, and the ridiculous ass stories she tried to say. And none of the evidence ever lined up with it, which is how people knew she was lying. So I feel like it works both ways. Even if she did say she hit him, if his injuries don't match being hit by a vehicle, then we have a problem. And if she's saying that she hit him with the car, but really she did, you know what I'm saying? It's it's not all coming together for me like I would like, and I'm a little bit disappointed, I have to say.
Same. I agree with you. Actually, it's just falling apart. I know it's falling apart a little bit, but
Kinda. It's
yeah.
kind of a problem. I mean, it's not. Listen, Allie came into this thing completely not biased, no preconceived notions. We gave her the presumption of innocence when she started, which is what the jury is supposed to do. And the way that they are um, lining this up as far as the prosecution goes, bruh. Now, listen, I don't know what is going on in that brain of yours. I know that I tend to be scattered. I understand that. But you're going to have to, you're even doing too much for me. And usually I can be patient with that because obviously we've all met me. You guys all familiar with my brand and how sometimes you guys, So yeah, but he's losing me. And I'm thinking to myself, some of this stuff doesn't make sense. It's not, but I'm still waiting and I'm still keeping an open mind. I'm not there yet, but okay. On to Vallow. Now, this morning, the state started with Kay Woodcock, which I find interesting the order in which these witnesses are being presented. It's very different from Lori's trial. And I'm interested to know what the strategy is. Also, I want you guys to know that we're going to be concentrating on talking about what took place as far as testimony today. I need to get with Allie and Amber, ATS News, and probably Lynn, and see. I would like to do a whole big live about the autopsy and the funeral and all of that, like everything that came out about with respect to Tammy Daybell. I want to do like one stream on that because that's how it went in court. I just I think that would be good because that's the one I think that is the charge that he is most. I think he's going to be convicted on all three of the murders, but I think that it's going to be Tammy's that he gets the death penalty for. I'm not so sure about JJ and Tylee. I'm not sure about it yet.
Yeah.
I feel like he's guilty, and I feel like he deserves the death penalty for their murders, but I'm not sure that the state really connected him to the actual taking of their lives, only probably what happened after the fact, as far as the burying and, all of that. So I think,
I agree.
But I think we should do some, like a deep dive into the testimony regarding Tammy Daybell's death, because I think that's important. What do you think, Allie? How you feel about that?
I would love to do that. I'm down,
Okay.
especially with you guys.
All right. Oh, good. Also, Dr. B wants everybody to know that today's witnesses said his body was not, yeah, that is witnesses. Is that what that says? Yes. Today's witnesses said his body, Jesus, Jen, was 9 feet from the road as opposed to yesterday's 20 feet. Yikes on bikes. Yeah. See, that's another problem. Now, listen, I'm not good at geometry and I am not good at geography. Okay. But as far as like measurements and eyeballing things, I know the difference between 9 feet and 20 feet, for Pete's sake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a little.
I think this is where I think though this is where our non-bias comes in a little bit, because for me that doesn't make that big of a difference for me, only because he was laying there and he was deceased. We know that, you know what I mean? So I think that's just like recalling we're at wrong, but I do think it's a problem. It's not the same at all, but I'm willing to just kind of let that go, I guess.
Right. Well, this is what I'm trying to understand. Or nah. Oh my goodness. Okay. There's also some things that came up during testimony respective to Tammy Daybell that I haven't talked about yet, although I'm aware of it. But that's another thing. Like, I just want to do it all in one place. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on not normal. I'm going to go 1.25 just to speed it up. And I will probably skip around a little bit. Pryor's cross-examination was not too terribly long. But I do want to hear what Kay has to say. Dr. B, do you want a link? So you can say all the
Back
things,
to the
Kay?
storm.
Back to the storm. See, this is where
Oh, yeah.
this is where I'm going
I
with it
didn't
too
know
as
that.
well. I need to know. I think that it's a big deal where his body landed. I need to know all of those things. I want to see like an accident recreation at this point because the first responders, bless their hearts. Now listen, they um they're trying to get there to assess the situation quickly. Usually there's somebody running around. In this case, it was Karen Reed. It sounds like, screaming and yelling and, hysterical. I'm not that person. When things are like that, I get extremely calm because I know that because my dad was a paramedic. I know that they need your help to know what happened. They weren't there, so somebody has to be calm, and that's me. And oh no, Bianca, hey guys, glad to feel home. It's been a long day. My sister has been diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer in January, and she finally decided to fight today. First chemo down. Please keep her in prayer. Absolutely, Blanca, we will. Absolutely, we will. She's got this.
Yes.
So yeah, I need to know. To me, that's important, and I need an accident recreation at this point because I need to know exactly where his body was.
I think
It's
it's a
going to
good
make
point
a
about,
difference.
yeah,
Mhm.
and I think it's a good point about like him potentially being moved of why that's
Mhm.
important. But I'm still willing to, um, like, that's not my most important thing. I do want to
No.
know, I would like to see an accident recreation. I'm 100% with you there because,
Yeah.
yeah. Are we going to see something like that? I'm
I
curious.
hope so. We need to at this point.
I
We need
think
to.
I think the jury takes a field trip tomorrow. So we're taking a field trip, Jen.
Oh, yay. I love a field trip. I hope it's better than the field trip that the jurors from
Oh,
Adam Montgomery, they hardly got to get out at all.
Christine says Monday. Wait, are they not having court on Fridays? Because I remember hearing that at one point. And Christine says Monday. But then at another time, I heard they are having it on
Oh,
Friday because
shit.
they didn't have it on
I think
whenever.
they are
God, I'm
having
all
it
over
on
the place.
Friday this week, I feel like. Oh, Christine meant Friday. She meant Friday. Yes. Okay,
Oh,
because I
okay.
think I think the rest of the time they're not going to have um court on Friday, but because they already didn't have court yesterday, they're going to have
Yeah.
court. So, okay.
It's
Okay.
hard to keep up.
It's so hard to keep up. I don't even know if I'm a coming or a going most of
Yeah.
these days. We're going on a field trip. Oh, and there's another thing. So today obviously is May 2nd. Um, May 5th is a day that I remember the victims, Michael Moore, Steve Branch, and Chris Byers in West Memphis, the 8-year-old boys that were murdered on May 5th of 1993. I
Oh,
keep my porch light on all day from until the 6th. If you guys want to do that in solidarity, I would
oh.
appreciate it.
So was that the day the crime happened?
Well, technically, if you read the autopsy reports, there's actually 2 different times of death given, and one is actually the 6th. They were found the 6th. They went missing May 5th. It's also Cinco de Mayo, which is a day for
Yeah.
my people.
It's also my
Um,
niece's birthday.
is it?
Mm-hmm.
Then we're 4 days out from Adam Montgomery's sentencing. The
Oh.
sentencing hearing in which he's been forced to attend.
Oh, I got to tell you something, which I was going to save it for on my Patreon, but I'll just say here that
Oh,
I had him on the Getting Out app. Remember, I'd added him on there,
mhm.
and he blocked me on there. I
He
don't know
did
why.
not.
Yes, he did. We hadn't talked in or anything like it. There was no reason. Nothing happened. So I don't know if he's just like about to go to sentencing, and he's so. I think it's like ego and pride, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that he's like shutting off or shutting down or something. I'm not really
Yeah.
sure, but yeah, nothing
He's
happened or
probably
anything.
doesn't
But
want to be contacted. So it's just easier to block people that,
yeah, that
than
might.
to deal with it. I mean, he doesn't want to go to court. I mean, listen, I wouldn't want to go to court either. Okay. But if I stood up in front of God and everybody and said that I was innocent at my previous trial, and that I was very much looking forward to proving my innocence or whatever the fuck it was he said. I would be there. Hey, Shift, long time
Yeah,
no see, babe. Good to
I
see
would
you.
too.
And I forgot to say hi to Sexy Wild Thing McLevin, freaking babyface clones. Forgot to say hi to you. And Tess, I don't know if I said hi to you either. Hi. I hope I haven't missed anybody. You guys know I see you. Just sometimes my brain is, y'all, I'm telling you right now, that freaking intro took it out of me today. I don't know what was the deal today. Just this one took a little longer, but shorter than the Karen Reed one, if you can believe that. I made myself sit still and do it, though. That's why. All right. Let's get on to Miss Kay, shall we?
Yes, I
So
actually
we're
didn't see this one, so
okay.
I
So
haven't even seen this yet.
all right. So we're gonna. I don't know about all this. So JJ Vallow's grandmother reveals quote jaw dropping details. I don't know. Maybe they were jaw dropping. I didn't. My jaw didn't drop, but whatever. Some of it. I mean, a
Okay.
lot of it I already knew, but I didn't hear all of it. So maybe I missed something. All right. Here we
Wait,
go.
wait.
Yes. Yes.
Tess has one question, and I want to know your answer to it, so
Okay.
I alerted you to it. It's the last one
Okay.
on it.
Girl. Gypsy, you need to stop. Stop right now. First of all, that hair color does not do you any favors. It actually washes you out. And the streaks that you have in your hair went out in 2001. Okay. And that is a hard hair color to maintain. Um, and I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but your nose doesn't look any different to me. They didn't do any contouring of the tip. Hope you didn't pay a lot for that, sis.
Wait, she already had the surgery?
Yes, she had her nose done, and now she's come out
I saw
like
the picture, but
2 months later, acting like she's,
wait,
announcing that her and Ken are together. Girl, bye. We knew that 2 months ago when you were, standing outside of the Dollar General smoking a cigarette, all hugged up.
wait a
Stop
minute. So
playing.
is it the picture with her with the blonde hair?
Yes.
Yeah, her nose doesn't look different to me. I didn't know she had it done already. I mean, I thought she looked fine, I don't think that she looked bad. I don't want to rag on her or too hard or whatever, but I can't tell the difference. I did not know that she had had the surgery already. Wow.
Look, I'm not going to. Yes, I am. I'm not yet. Well, let me just say it like this. Her nose was an insecurity that she had. She has been talking about getting a nose job since she was locked up. And that's just facts. Okay. She doesn't like her nose. She wanted it changed. But if if you take out the bump, but you don't do a little contouring to the tip, you will not get the desired results. And to be fair, she's not that long post-op, so maybe it's still a little swollen. I don't know, but I'm not a fan of the hair color. I don't think it does anything for her, to be honest with you.
Some people
Um,
just aren't meant to be blondes. It washes them out and they just
yeah.
don't look right as blondes. Even I used to use blonde, like have blonde hair all the time, use blonde hair, get my hair highlighted all the time. And I remember like the first day I looked so weird. I looked washed out. I don't think it suits me very well either, but yeah, some people are just not meant to be blondes.
And she did get new teeth. I forgot that too. And
Wow.
I the only reason I noticed it is because I'm so used to seeing her, and she has like silver caps. Her old dentures have some caps in the back. I think that's where they affix to the to her back. How I don't know, whatever, however they go in or whatever. But anyways, they aren't there. I mean, Gypsy's not a bad looking girl. But again, I would be, if I were Gypsy, my first concern would be making myself over on the fucking inside where it counts. Because,
Right.
you know,
Yep. Exactly. No, I thought she looked cute as can be, like, just compared to old stuff when she first came out and was all fixed up for those interviews and stuff.
yeah,
She looked
she
fine.
looked
She looked good.
fine. I wasn't a fan of the, the tights. If you're going to wear, I wasn't a fan of the hose. She should have worn like opaque tights, would have looked cuter with that short outfit, but whatever. She didn't ask me, but I'm telling it anyhow. That's neither here nor there. She just gets on my nerves because I don't find her, I don't see her doing anything to make herself a better person. Like that's where it matters. It doesn't matter what you look like on the outside. You can only, good looks will open a door for you. But if you have nothing to offer, that door is going to close quick. They'll open it and kick you right the hell out. So I didn't like her hose. I didn't like her hose or her hosiery, however you say it. It wasn't a good look. Should have been on.
Y'all are just so silly. The comments always cheer me up. Y'all are
I
too
know.
much.
I know. All right. Now this is going to be sad. So here we go. But I put her on 1.25. Okay.
All right, Mr. Wood, you can inquire.
Thank you. And before I do, Your Honor, may I be handed States Exhibits 4 and 6?
For Pete's sake. Always with the handing of the exhibits.
Kay Woodcock, KayWoodcock.
Thank you. And Ms. Woodcock, where do you reside?
Lake Charles, Louisiana.
How long have you lived there?
More or less all my life.
Your Honor, may I publish States Exhibit 4? It's already been admitted.
Yes.
Ms. Woodcock, do you recognize the boy in that picture?
I do. That's
Who is he?
my grandson, JJ Vallow.
He's so precious there, Bendy.
Can you tell the jury how you're specifically related to him?
All dressed up.
My son and his girlfriend
Wow.
had a baby, and when he was born on May 25th, 2012, he was, they called him Canaan Todd Trahan. And they were unable to care for him. And so he came to live with me and Larry, my husband.
Okay, so here's your biological grandson.
Yes.
And you stated that your son and his girlfriend were unable to care for him. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Did JJ spend a significant amount of time? I'm just going to refer to him as JJ, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Did he spend any significant amount of time at the hospital when he was born?
He was in the hospital, I think it was 6 to 7 weeks. He was born at 10 weeks premature. So he was like 2.5 pounds. And he was born with drugs in his system. So he had a bit of growing and getting healthy.
Okay, so this is kind of stuff that we already know. So I'm just going to go ahead and skip forward a little bit. I think it's about, let's see. She talks about Tylee.
He reminds me so much of Bentley now because like he's at that age, and Bentley also had like a little, they just have like a similar body type and little baby face still. And
yes, I know. Bentley does have a little baby face still. God love him. He's going to be a handsome little boy. You're going to be in trouble when he gets bigger. I'm telling you right now.
Probably.
All right. So now we're going to move ahead. And this is where Kay is going to talk about, the split up and all that stuff. So here we go.
Did you help with JJ?
Yes. Again, when Charles would work, he would be gone a few days, mostly like 3 days. And I would go and take care of JJ, and we would have a good time. That was some very good times.
At any time in 2019, did Lori Vallow come to Houston that you're aware of?
Thank you, Claus.
Yes, it was around mid-April of 2019.
And you had talked about Charles and Lori separating. Are you aware if there were any attempts at reconciliation?
I know Charles really wanted a reconciliation. Everything I heard from about Lori, she was not at all interested in it. I believe at that time she came back to, it was her motivation was to get some more.
Judge, I'm going to object. Calls for speculation.
Sustain.
What Kay was about to say is
Let's talk about Charles
important.
for a minute. What did Charles do for a living?
He was a financial planner. He mostly sold annuities.
Were you involved at all in Charles's business?
Yes, Larry and I owned a business, and I guess because of that background, Charles was comfortable in asking me to help him with his business, and I would do accounts payable, receivable, payroll, do Excel spreadsheets, things like that.
In helping Charles, did he ever give you access to any of his online accounts, like emails?
Yes, I had access to that. Yes.
Okay, I just want to take a second. I want to acknowledge and thank Sexy Wild Thing McLevin freaking Babyface Klaus for becoming a YouTube member. Thank you, babe. And I would like to also acknowledge Griffey Bear, who says, "Hi all, I rarely get to say hello, but I wanted to say Jen, Lou, and Allie, and everyone else in chat, thanks for making me smile and keeping my spirits up. I seriously need it. Love you all." Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm glad you decided to chat or got a chance to chat. Okay, now this is the part, we already know this part. You guys have all heard it, okay? Because this is the same testimony. Kay does amazing in this. I have to give it up to her. The prosecutor, there's some things that she throws out that the prosecution, I don't think was ready for, but this is about the emails, okay? So this is where she finds out, about the rings and the dress and all the things. All right, here we go.
So you stated that around mid-April, Lori came back to Houston. Did you continue to see JJ at that time?
After she came back, yes, there was a couple of weeks where we didn't see him, but that was in April. And then in May, Lori started leaving Houston again, and she would start traveling again, and Charles would come on the weekends and bring JJ, and so we could visit with him.
You said that, you said that Lori started leaving. Are you aware if she made living arrangements back in the Phoenix area?
In June, yes, she did. Charles rented her a house in Chandler.
At that time, do you know if Charles expected to reconcile, or do you know if he expected to divorce?
No, he was headed for divorce because he was actually the day he was murdered on July 11th, he had made arrangements to meet with a friend who was going to show him a house to lease not far from Lori's.
And you just mentioned he died on July 11th, 2019.
Yes.
And are you aware of how he died?
2 gunshot wounds to the chest.
Are you aware if Charles Vallow had a life insurance policy?
Yes,
Did you ever have occasion to speak with him about that policy?
we did in February of 19. He said that
Judge, I'm going to object. It's hearsay.
Sustain.
All right. Did you ever have a conversation with Charles Vallow about you being the beneficiary on his life insurance policy?
yes,
Did you make any commitments to him about what you would do with that money if you were to receive it?
yes,
What commitments did you make to Charles Vallow?
he had $1 million life insurance policy, and because of Lori acting the way she was acting,
Judge, I'm going to object at this point. It's
Okay.
non-responsive.
Sustain.
What commitment did
The
you make to
commitment
Charles?
I made was to give each of Charles's 2 adult sons each $250,000 out of the $1 million, which I did do in January of 2020. And then Charles said the other 50% was for me and Larry, because we were going to end up raising JJ if anything happened to him. That that was the conversation, a very short conversation. I never knew if he followed through and changed it.
So that was the only conversation you had with him.
Yes.
Okay. Now, that particular part of the testimony, Pryor is really trying to keep it out. Okay. Because Lori and Chad have conversations about this life insurance policy, and it's not good. We know that. We've heard those. But the other thing that's an issue, and this is why this specific part is very, very important, because at the end of the day, there's going to be a witness that gets called, and that witness is an officer, and he's going to play some, I don't remember if it was video or audio, because to be honest with you, I was listening and not looking. But I remember at the end of the day, it's when they came in to do the wellness check on JJ. And Lori is speaking to the officer, and she says that Kay took all the money. She got $1 million, and and she didn't get anything. And it's the way that she says it. She's very salty, but this is important because it's also been said by, it's just been a rumor that floated around. There was that Kay and Larry didn't do what they said they were going to do with the money, which was to give each of Charles's son $250,000. And they did do that. But it's been said, I can't even remember. Allie, do you remember where
think
those?
it was Annie.
Yeah. Wait, Annie, like 10 to life, or?
No, Annie. I don't know why. Analytics that.
Oh yeah.
Tylee Ryan's aunt.
Yes.
Is that her name? I don't know. My brain is not working right
My
now.
brain.
Tess will
You're
know.
asking me. My brain's not working today either, sis. So come on, one of us has got to. But yeah.
Her name is now A Murderous Heart, I think.
That's right. That's right.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
She came out swinging for Kay.
Yeah.
She was making some major accusations and stuff. And, I don't know. I've always really liked Kay and Larry. I think that what I chalk it up to is they're all hurt because of all this, and they're trying to deal with it. And sometimes grief, there's an anger stage, and I think that just kind of chalk it up to that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with you. Hey, thank you, Punksy. I appreciate that, babe. Thank you so much. I think that's
Yes,
what it was
definitely.
too. I think it was anger. This is a lot for a family to go through. The crime itself is heinous, but when you realize, when you really sit back and think about it, all of these people had family, and they were like involved with their families. They weren't like estranged or anything. These weren't, Lori was, involved with her sister and with her mom, and obviously Alex, which obviously was a bad combo, but you take my meaning. They were involved, and crimes like this don't happen in a vacuum. There's a ripple effect, and everybody gets, everybody is affected. And I think, yes, I do think that it was just set out of anger, and I hope that the family on both sides can heal and come together through all of this when the trials are over, because it's not over. Chad's trial will end, but Lori has a trial in Arizona, and I have a feeling that it is quite possible that Chad and the Melanies will be next. Maybe not on the same level of charges, but definitely some. That's just my feeling.
And I want to just add, I also like Annie, because I just said I've always really liked Kay. I like them all. I think they're all just, I just wanted to make that clear so it doesn't seem like I'm one way or the other.
I didn't take it like that at all. I've actually
I know
never
you didn't
watched Annie's channel. I do watch Crusha a lot. I love Crusha. I adore her. She is always, she's very sweet, and my heart just goes out to her, and I would imagine she was very, very proud of her mom today on the stand.
Yeah. Well, Annie has a very good channel when it comes to all this stuff. Like, she has a lot on Joe's death and the
Mhm.
custody battle and the truth of that situation, the accusations like leveled against Joe. And she has the people who watched Tylee's visits that have come out and said they also think they were false accusations, just all kinds of information. And I
Yeah.
think for her job, she does like analytics or something. So so that's why her channel is named that. And she's very detail oriented, and she like her lives will be very, very long, but they are packed full of details. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
kind of,
No, unlike my lives that are packed full of gibberish. No, just kidding.
no, they are not. But oh my God, there's a freaking tree frog out here that is not green. He's like pale yellow. Have you ever seen that?
Run.
Sorry, that is so weird. He looks like he's
You know that I'm scared of frogs, Allie. Why would you have I ever seen that?
Oh yeah,
If
that
I
coming
have,
up.
I didn't fucking stick around to take a notice. I saw that it was a frog and I said,
I'm
bye-bye.
sorry. I forgot you were scared of frogs. You know I'm scared of frogs, Allie. Why would I know? Why would you
Hell
even
no,
ask
I
me
don't be
that?
taken up. I don't be no. I mean, ever since that road trip, one of these nights when we're maybe at the end of tonight, I'll tell everybody that story again. But let's get back to it because I'm
Okay.
not on task. I'm bad, bad, bad. All right, here we
Sorry.
go. No, it's not you. It's me.
And was it your impression that Charles believed if something happened to him, you would end up with JJ?
Yes.
Okay, I don't want to pause too much, but I got to pause right there because that's interesting to me. That is something new. And I didn't even realize it until just right now. Why would Charles think that Kay would end up with JJ? If everything that happened was a result of Lori meeting Chad and Chad saying that the kids were dark, but they weren't dark from the very beginning. They didn't get dark until after Charles was murdered and the life insurance got changed, or the life insurance went to Lori. That's when all of a sudden Tylee was dark and then JJ was dark. So
That's true, but in the video footage of Charles, my friend that just passed away is named Carl. I don't know. The name must be in my head, but from Charles, whenever he's at the house and he gets locked out and all that stuff, I remember him saying that she like didn't want the kids. She was like, he was worried she wasn't going to want the kids or something like that. That she would like, so
No,
there
I
was
mean,
some kind of fear in Charles.
Yes, that's what I'm wondering about. What is it that she was doing?
I think he said she said it, that she didn't want them or something like that. We'd have to go back to that body.
We're going to have to go
cam.
back to that because from everybody else's accounts, this was a fucking shock.
Right.
But Charles knew, which I believe Charles. I mean, even, you know, I think he was desperate that day when he was speaking to the officers and he was really trying to get help and trying to get something, you know, some type of paper trail. And thank God he did that because, good Lord. But I wonder what made him think that, because by everybody else's accounts, Lori was a fantastic mom. And you notice that they never ask the people who were the closest to her. Like they didn't ask Melanie Gibb anything about other than the light and the dark, right? They never asked her about conversations that two women would have. Hey, Shmina. You know, how two women would talk after, you know, a divorce, like when a divorce is coming up, you know, what are the plans? How's custody going to go? All this stuff. Right. And then all of a sudden, you know, then Lori is done a whole 180. I remember that, Ange, that she had left JJ with Charles and, you know, disappeared for days and all that. Yes, that I remember.
for like,
but I
I think she went for a couple months maybe,
yeah,
or some. Oh wow, yeah.
something
I'm
happened,
gonna
and
try to
then
find
but
out.
yeah, we're gonna have to figure that out. Now I lost my track. I can't remember where I was going with that. I had a good salient point too, and now my brain is just like just I
You were
can't.
saying that you, by all accounts, nobody else.
Oh,
Good.
yeah, Lori and Melanie, if they did talk about it, nobody asked. Nobody asked Melanie what Lori said about the kids, as far as was she having struggles beyond the light and the dark. I'm talking about, was she worried how she was going to put a roof over their head and food in their bellies? Did she have those kind of struggles? Was she finding it overwhelming being alone in a new place? I mean, at the end, yes, Chad was around, but does Chad look like he was a helper? No. That's why, but you see what I'm saying? And then there's this whole 180, and then she's going to give JJ to Kay, and then she turns again and says she has to hide JJ, which we know obviously was a lie, but it's just, none of that makes any sense. Then all of a sudden she's going to give JJ Kay to JJ, and then all of a sudden Kay's trying to steal him from her, and her family is working against her. They're in cahoots. Like, that never made any sense to me, and nobody ever asked those questions. Nate Eaton, if you are listening and Lori ever grants you the interview, or if Melanie gives you a redo, please ask her about that for me, would you? Appreciate you. All right, here we go.
Do you know, you stated that was the only time you spoke with
Oh,
him.
pause.
Are you aware if you were in fact
Yes.
Okay, so I found the answer to part of this. So this is
Okay.
an article from Idaho News in May of 2020. They're talking about the body cam footage with Charles that we were just talking about. And he says, he loves Lori. This is killing him, blah, blah, blah. But about the kids, he says she called him and told him, okay, Vallow told officers he called them as he feared for his, JJ, and Tylee's safety. He said earlier that day, while he was on a business trip in Houston, Lori had called him and told him to take the kids. So she told him she didn't want him to take him.
Okay. Interesting. Yep. All right. And but at that point, he was dark too. None of this makes any sense to me. I mean, I know it's not supposed to, it's not going to. None of this is logical at all. But it still irritates me. You know what I mean?
Well, this was in January of 2019. So this was before Lori ever moved to Idaho, and it really got like majorly hectic. You know what I mean? Like in majorly.
Yeah, but
he was already Ned.
Yes.
But it was not in full force, like once she got to Idaho. So.
No, she moved to Idaho after he was killed.
Well, yeah. Well, this is when she lived in Arizona, though, is what I'm saying.
Right. This is when they were doing the castings and getting Ned Schneider out, and then it turned to Hippopotamus or Hippopotheus or something like that. Yikes.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, here we go.
listed as the beneficiary on that life insurance policy?
No, we never spoke about it again. I never asked about it. And I didn't know until the insurance company called after his murder.
Okay, so were you contacted by the insurance company?
Yes.
And were you then informed that you were indeed the life insurance beneficiary?
Yes.
All right. And did you receive that money?
Yes. Months later.
Did Lori Vallow ever contact you about that life insurance policy?
All she ever did was send me a text one day. It was towards the end of July of 19 that she found the change of beneficiary form to me. And I can't recall exactly the comment, but it was something to the effect of, is this why you want JJ? Something like, I've got 5 kids and no money, and you get everything. So yeah, that was all.
Okay.
That was it.
I want to switch back to talking about JJ. Do you recall the last time you saw JJ Vallow in person?
Yes.
When was that?
It was the weekend of May 17th in 2019. Yeah.
Where did you see him?
he and Charles came to Lake Charles for the weekend. And his birthday was May 25th. We had a birthday party for him a little, like a week early. We had it at a pizza place and had friends and cousins all come and gave him his happy 7th birthday. The last birthday we'd ever have with him.
After the last time you saw him in person, did you ever have any type of telephone or digital contact with JJ?
Yes,
Do you recall when that was?
the last time we saw him was on a FaceTime, August 10th of 2019. After Charles's murder, we had a very hard time trying to contact with him. Lori was very evasive and oftentimes wouldn't respond to requests.
So you said the last contact you had with him was August 10th. Do you recall if in between the last time you saw JJ, which I believe you said was May 17th and August 10th, did you have any other digital contact with JJ that you recall?
Yes, we had from the time Charles was murdered to that August 10th date. That was a 1-month time frame, and only 2 times we were able to see him on FaceTime. She was limiting everything. Any contact with us, she was limiting it.
Okay. And then, as you said, the last time you talked to him was August 10th.
Yes.
Right. After August 10th, did you attempt to have contact with JJ?
Yes.
How did you do that?
Lori, I would email her, text her, leave voicemails, call her. She would never respond. Not one time did she respond.
Did you attempt to arrange with Lori for JJ to attend Charles Vallow's funeral services?
Yes, his services were like August the 4th of 19, and I had arranged with Lori that I would fly to Phoenix and pick up JJ and bring him back to Louisiana, and he was going to stay with us for the week, and then I would take him back to Phoenix, and then I would return home. And we bought the tickets. I mean, we were all set and ready to go. And then I guess after she found out about the insurance, it was a day or 2 later, she said that they were too busy, that they were moving to Hawaii, and that it would be too much for JJ. So she backed out on the deal.
So he was not able to attend his father's funeral.
No.
At any time in 2019, did you become concerned about the whereabouts of JJ Vallow?
Absolutely. I mean, the minute we found out that of Charles's murder, that we were extremely worried. That evening that we found out, excuse me, on the 12th, we didn't know about his death until the 12th, and the only reason we knew is because Lori contacted Charles's 2 sons. She texted them to tell them their dad was dead, and then she wouldn't answer her phone. So Charles's oldest son, Cole, reached out to me and asked, "What is going on?" Lori said, "Dad's dead." And I said, no, that can't be right. This is a joke or something, because he was healthy as a horse.
I'm going to let it play more, but I just wanted to tell you guys, I got to let Nestor out. So give me like 5 minutes. Okay. Sorry.
And sure enough, my husband, for some reason, he Googled Charles's name and
Okay.
read that he was killed the day before.
And so, and then you've testified that you had very limited contact with JJ after Charles's death.
Yes.
And then, so after Charles's death, was it partly because of that limited contact that you became concerned about JJ's whereabouts?
Absolutely. We were working with detectives in Chandler, so we had to keep a real low profile.
Okay. So I wanted to ask you, did you ever contact law enforcement about JJ's whereabouts?
Absolutely. I mean, that was once we knew Charles was dead, we knew he was in trouble, because Lori didn't want JJ anymore. She didn't want Tylee anymore. She didn't want Charles anymore. She was done.
Do you recall which specific law enforcement you reached out to, or that you first expressed concerns about JJ's whereabouts to?
To a detective at Chandler Police Department.
right? And do you recall who that was?
Detective Nate Moffett.
After your last FaceTime with JJ, which I believe you said was August 10th,
Yes.
did you speak with law enforcement again about JJ's well-being?
I don't believe there was a time when I was in contact with them on via phone, because we talked often, that I wasn't expressing my concern about where JJ is.
Did you take any steps beyond law enforcement to locate JJ?
Yes, after Brandon's attempted murder, Brandon and I started talking, and because he hired a private investigator to try and find out where his wife Melanie was, or I think that was the situation, and because our what we had going on with Charles and all that in our life, anyway, Brandon and I split the cost of the private investigator, because he investigating one case, he was kind of investigating the other.
All right. So did you, based on what you just said, and for
Mhm.
clarity of the record, you were in contact with Brandon Boudreaux.
Yes,
All right. And you hired the same private investigator.
yes,
Were you ever, did you ever become aware of where Lori Vallow was in the fall of 2019?
yes, she was in Rexburg,
Judge, I'm
Idaho.
going to object some foundation.
Yeah, it's overruled, untimely.
I want to speak to you about November of 2019. At any time in November of 2019, was JJ Vallow ever with you?
No,
We spoke earlier about Charles's online accounts. Did you have access to his business bank accounts?
yes,
Did you have access to his emails?
yes,
And did you have access to his passwords to look into those accounts?
yes,
Was there ever a time in November of 2019 that you looked at Charles Vallow's Gmail account?
yes. It was
When was that?
November the 8th.
And tell us about that. Why did you look at that account?
I was trying to hook up his printer to my computer, and I was having trouble with it the night before, so I left it alone. I woke up at 4:30 in the morning with a compulsion to go finish hooking up that computer to my computer to his printer. And anyway, long story short, I noticed his Gmail account was open on the screen, and it was a login page, and I had never really logged into his email before, and so I did I knew he had 3 favorite passwords, so the first password I used worked, and one of the emails that came up was from Amazon.
Yeah, well, let me stop you real quick. So
Okay.
just for clarity of the record, this was on November 8th of 2019.
Yes,
Did you see anything of interest to you in that Gmail account?
yes, there was email from Amazon about a delivery.
All right. And did you look at that email?
Yes, I did, and I looked at the delivery address, and I've got it was a apartment on Pioneer Road in Rexburg, Idaho, with the apartment number
Do you recall the apartment number?
175.
Okay. This email you looked at, you said it was from Amazon. Were you able to ascertain by looking at that email whose Amazon account was being used?
It was Charles's Amazon account.
And when you opened that email, were you able to look at Charles's Amazon account?
Yes, when I found that, I was in contact with, well, number one, with Brandon, and then with our private investigator, and he walked me through how I could get into the Amazon browsing history. Well, first I could see what was purchased, and then I dug a little deeper into the Amazon browsing history.
All right. And was there anything of interest to you on that you saw with your own eyes on that Amazon browsing history?
Yes, it was
What did you see?
jaw-dropping. I saw a search for malachite wedding rings. There was one purchased actually for 35 or 36.99. I saw searches for women's beach wedding dresses. I saw that she looked at or maybe purchased two, I don't remember, a yellow bikini, not a bikini, a yellow one-piece bathing suit. And another search was men's beach clothes, men's for like linen beach clothes.
Okay, sorry. I had a little trouble. Nestor didn't want to come in. He's still outside actually lounging. Okay, so now I understand the jaw dropping because it's a word she used, which I don't understand why they didn't just put it in quotes because she's the one that said it. But what is Chad doing, you guys? Look at him. He's just busy just scribbling away over there. God, he irritates the shit out of me. I can't imagine finding that on my brother's computer. I don't have a brother, but I have my sister. So say, God forbid, anything happened to my sister, like what happened to Charles. And I got her like iPad or her, or whatever, some electronic of hers. And, it's her Amazon account, but her husband is looking up wedding attire. I would be livid. I don't know how she's really composed on the stand. This would piss me off to no end.
And a size large is what she was looking at.
Okay.
And it was a white shirt and white pants that like you would wear on a beach, linen type clothes.
Like the outfit we see Chad and Lori's wedding pictures in.
And
Yeah.
that
Do you recall what date that search was performed?
That search was performed, I was just about to say that, October the 2nd of 2019. I read that November the 8th, but the search was actually done on October 2nd, 2019. And that was before Tammy's death.
All right. Why did those items catch your attention?
Because I know that Tammy passed away October the 19th. And Lori was obviously involved with Chad Daybell. And it was just mind blowing that they were looking at wedding rings before
Judge, I'm going
Tammy's
to object.
death.
Judge, I'm going to object. Calls for speculation.
Sustained.
I'll move on. At any time did you become aware let me rephrase that. In 2019, at any time did you become aware that the Rexburg Police Department was looking for JJ Vallow?
Yes.
Do you remember who told you that?
I was probably our detective from Arizona, probably Nate Moffett, I believe. I'm not exactly
Okay.
sure.
That's okay, but you did become aware they were searching.
Yes, finally.
Did you ever go to Rexburg after that?
That's my favorite part when she says finally, because Kay and Larry worried about those kids more than anybody else. Like nobody that was around them who knew what was coming. Yes, Melanie Gibb and Melanie Pulowski, I am looking at y'all because you knew what was coming. You knew after Charles was murdered that JJ being dark and Tylee being dark, you knew exactly what their fates were going to be. You knew it, and you did nothing, and you didn't even help the one person, the two people who were desperate to save them. And you could have. All you had to do was say what was going on. All you had to do was tell Larry and Kay where JJ was and what was going on, and they would have been on the first flight out there, and none of this would have happened. And JJ and Tylee would still be alive, but you didn't. You kept your mouths shut and you covered your own asses. And if you don't get punished by the judicial system, the universe will handle you. It's disgusting. Oh, they make me so angry. I'm sorry, you guys. I have had a moment. Allie, are you still there, babe? She might be taking care of one of the kiddos.
No.
Oh,
No,
you're
I'm
still
here.
there?
I just couldn't get I
Okay.
couldn't get it to unmute, but I am inside, so that's why I was not
Oh,
talking
okay.
much because the
Okay.
lullabies are on. But I'm about to go back outside.
I hate that you have to go
But
outside.
I'm
We've got to
here.
figure out a better schedule.
Well, I like it outside too because I can smoke and stuff while we're on.
Oh, that's true. And it's not cold anymore. Now it's
okay.
warmed up.
No, yeah, now it feels good. So it's
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. I just get so frustrated and so angry when I think about all of the details, and
I
how
know.
the Melanies, particularly the Melanies, because they were the inner circle. And neither one of them did a damn thing to help those kids. Hey, Keith. Hey, Stacy. Good to see you both.
I totally agree.
Where did that comment go?
I totally agree with you about the Melanies, and I still remember Kay and Larry going to Chad's property after the kids were found and standing out on the side of the road doing an interview and just crying. I'll never forget that. Oh,
Yeah.
just awful.
I couldn't. I have to watch. There was a a memorial for JJ and Tylee this last weekend, and I just could not. I could not bring myself to watch it. I will watch it because obviously I want to support, but it was too. I can't. I know, and I feel like such an asshole when I say that. It was too much for me because I can't imagine what it was for Kay and Larry and all the people that knew and loved JJ and Tylee. And I feel like an asshole because it's too much for me, But I just could not. I just couldn't do it this weekend. I just couldn't. I tried. I tried.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with not. I haven't watched it yet either, but Tess said it was really good, and she was like making a point about how, there was so much drama and stuff going on, and like that was happening, and how sad it was that there wasn't more focus on that. And I agree with her, and I was probably watching some of the drama. I don't know.
I probably was too.
She's right about that.
Hey, Beaver,
Yeah,
good to
so,
see you,
I don't
babe.
know, but-
Yeah, I didn't get
Hey,
much
Beaver.
coverage. I'll say that for sure.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
I did. My husband and I went up on the first week or so of January of 2020. We came to Rexburg. We went to Rexburg.
Okay. Did you put out a reward for information on JJ?
We did. We put out a reward looking for him because Lori or Chad would not answer questions regarding the JJ and Tylee missing.
Did you meet with the Rexburg police?
Yes, we did.
All right, I'm going to skip forward a little bit to Pryor's cross-exam because his isn't very long. And we'll just listen to a little bit of that, and then we'll get over to Heather.
So you want 32 A through F also admitted?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Does the state have any objection to the 30?
Mr. Wood, regarding the living arrangements of Charles and Lori, I would appreciate it. And they got married when?
March of 2006. February of 2006, sorry.
It's okay. And then at that time they were living where?
In Chandler or in the Phoenix area. I'm not
Okay.
exactly sure which suburb.
And how long did they live there? Do you recall?
From 2006 until they moved in 2014.
And when in 2014 did they move and to where?
The end of July 2014 to Princeville, Hawaii, on the island of Kauai.
And how long did they live in Hawaii?
Until just call it the end of 2016, like they moved during the Christmas holiday, obviously.
I don't understand the point of these questions,
they
Mr.
moved back
Pryor.
where?
To Chandler,
So first part of 2017 back to Chandler.
yes.
And how long did they live there?
Until Charles's, well, I don't know, Charles moved to Houston at the end of March of 2019, and he was living in Houston. She was living in Arizona, in Chandler, or wherever. Okay. It's kind of confusing.
It's okay.
Because she was gone for over 2 months.
Right. And that's what I'm trying to get at. And then you figured out where I'm trying to clarify a little bit. They moved back to the Chandler area in around 2017. Is that correct?
Yes,
And they lived there until Charles chose to move back to Houston. Is that fair?
yes.
And when did Charles move back to Houston?
The end of March of 2019.
So from 2017 to March of 2019, they lived in Chandler. And then in March of 2019, Charles moved to Houston. Is that correct?
Yes,
Now, you mentioned it earlier about Lori Vallow being gone for 2 months, and I think you mentioned the words Hawaii. Did you later learn that Lori Vallow in early 2019 spent 60 days in Hawaii?
I know that I've learned through court testimonies and stuff that she made several trips to Hawaii during the about the 70 days she was not talking to JJ.
Right, and that's where I'm going next. Is that in around February of 2019, Lori Vallow left JJ with Charles. Is that correct? First part of February of 2019.
Did she leave JJ with Charles? I don't know how that went down exactly,
Okay.
but he had JJ. He had physical custody.
Right. Regardless of how it ended up, JJ was with Charles around the 1st of February until well into almost the first part of April. Is that correct?
Yes.
And at that point, you touched on it a little bit, but do you have any specific information that Lori Vallow was living for 2 months in Hawaii?
No, I all I know is that she was back and forth to Hawaii. She wasn't living there.
And did you know the whereabouts of Tylee during this time?
I've learned later that she made a couple of trips to Hawaii with her mom, but I don't know where Tylee was.
And you don't know who Tylee was staying with?
Not exactly, no.
Okay. And is it possible that Lori and Tylee, the entire time from the 1st of February till the better part of the first plus week of April, were both living in Hawaii together?
Objection calls for speculation.
Sustain.
And would it be safe to say, based on your experience and understanding and close connection with your brother, that Lori Vallow from the 1st of February well into April had little or no contact with JJ during that time?
No contact.
Okay. And then in April, when I think it was you said April, she started showing up again around April in Houston?
Mid-April.
Okay, mid-April. And then during that time, continued to have very little contact with JJ as well, correct?
I don't know how much contact she had with him after that point.
JJ continued to stay with Charles during that point for at least a little while.
Yes,
Are you aware that on or around the 16th of April of 2019, Charles changed his beneficiary back to Lori Vallow?
I knew that. Yes, I mean, no, I didn't know at the time, but I've learned later.
So you know now. I don't need to show you the documents. You're aware that on the 16th of April, Charles Vallow placed back Lori Vallow as the beneficiary of his life insurance, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Well, I know he had changed it, and I
Right.
assume it was to her.
And then would you tell me when he changed it back to you, to your knowledge?
I don't know. There was issue with the insurance company regarding that,
Okay.
and that's all I know.
So issue was the insurance company. But in essence, one way or the other, you were able to receive a beneficiary check as a result of Charles being murdered by Lori and Alex, right?
Now, I don't know if they were the only two involved in this murder, but yes,
But you did get a beneficiary check.
yes.
Okay. Now, you talked a little bit about this Amazon search, and you talked about wedding rings, wedding dresses, bathing suits, and large beach clothes for men, right?
Yes,
Some water.
I got it.
Okay. Those specific searches took place when?
November 8th of 19.
Is that the date you looked it up, or is that the date those searches actually took place?
That's the date I looked it up.
Okay, so you don't know when those searches took place, right?
if you go into the browsing history in Amazon, you can tell exactly when they were, when it happened,
Okay,
when the search
So
happened.
do you have any recollection of when she started looking for those searches of those items?
She may have done it before October 2nd, but I don't know. But I only know that I saw that
Okay,
browsing history that day.
so if,
On November 8th, I saw she was searching for items, October the 2nd, a wedding dress and rings.
and it's
wedding
interesting,
rings.
I'm sorry. And it's interesting to note that you made the point of emphasizing that the search was done by Lori Vallow, correct?
Yes,
And Chad Daybell didn't have any access to Lori Vallow's account, right?
I have no idea.
Right, and you don't have an idea whether or not Chad Daybell even had knowledge that Lori Vallow was planning to purchase these items, do you?
Say that again, please.
Well, you don't have any specific knowledge that suggests that Chad Daybell was involved in helping her purchase these items, do you?
Actually, I guess not, because it was on Charles's credit card.
Right,
She was
And-
buying new wedding stuff
right.
on his credit card.
And there are only two people that had access to Charles's credit information. That would be you, correct?
Yes.
And Lori Vallow, correct?
I don't know who Lori may have shared her financial information with. I have no idea.
Right, but you also don't know that, but you do know that she had access to his credit cards because she made these purchases, or at least looked at maybe making these purchases, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Judge, that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Oh my God.
I mean, okay, look. Pryor's tone is always stank. And I don't understand. I get that he needs to advocate for his client, and it's his job to, mount a defense. I understand that part. I'm not, and I'm trying to cut him some slack, but some of the questions that he asks, and it's going to get worse with the next witness. Hold on, let me stop sharing this and get the next witness. We might have to cut this into two parts because we've already been on for an hour and a half, and I know it's late for Allie, and I just appreciate her doing this.
Well, whatever you want, but he makes me so mad the way he talks to Kay. It's like, you make yourself look bad. I get it, what you're saying. He does have to
Yeah.
advocate for Chad, but like,
It's the
there's a
way
way to
that
do
he
it.
does it. Yes.
Mhm.
Like, okay, I understood his point. Okay. Yes, the majority of the testimony that Kay gave pertained to Lori. Okay. As far as it was Lori using Charles's Amazon account and using Charles's credit card, all those things, right? Yes, that pertained to Lori. Okay. But she wasn't marrying herself. And it connects to Chad because they clearly were planning to get married. Okay. This is why she was shopping. Hold on. I have to adjust in my seat. I'm uncomfortable. Sorry, you guys. Clearly they were planning to get married. This is why she was searching for the linen outfit, the same outfit that Chad's wearing in that dadgum picture of them on the beach, their wedding picture or whatever. Stacy, babe, I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to put in the Nightbot link. If you click right on the blue link that comes up from Nightbot, where it says, hold on, it should do it in a minute. It'll come up in a minute. Why did it not do it? Where it says, like my content, consider joining a member. If you click on that link right there, it should take you right to it. But that, it was part of the plan. He was in, Chad also made that comment about changing the, about Charles changing the beneficiary and what happened to him. He made reference of the 2 gunshot wounds to the chest. They were cahooters. Stop playing, Pryor. You got a client who, while yes, he is by the loosest definition of the word author, an author. Like I've literally written at least a book worth of narration for the various videos I've done. Technically, I'm a fucking author too. Okay. So he's an author. All right. Yes, we get it, Prior, that he's an author. But when you write a book and then the shit in that you write in the book, which is stolen, by the way, from, again, I have to point this out, Supernatural season 2. Look, watch it. I swear it's all from there. Most of it. You know, and then it ends up fucking happening. It doesn't, it's the him being an author at that point becomes irrelevant. You know?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But you don't have to be a jerk about it. That's the point. Advocate for your client, but you don't got to be a jerk. Wait till you see what he does with freaking Heather. Now I need to give you guys a little backstory on Heather. Okay.
Wait, before you go on, just let me
Yes.
say really quick that
Say it really quick, say it really long, say whatever you got to say, babe.
well, it's about Kay, but
Okay.
just to say, if I was the defense attorney for Chad, I would probably make those same points. Like, just because, do you know for sure that Chad had access?
Right.
Was Chad the one who did? But not like that. You know what I mean?
It's his
even though
tone.
I think Chad obviously knew. You're exactly right. It's his tone. Yeah.
It's his
So,
tone. He has a
all.
stank tone. We don't like it, Prior, and we need you to cut it out. Hey, Ryan, good to see you. So, okay, let me give you a little backstory about Heather. Now, what's interesting is, thank you, Neat Noodle. Thank you very much.
Aw, thank you, Nate.
Thank you, babe. Let's have a little palate cleanser, shall we? Should we have a little palate cleanser? Let's do it.
Gossip, blah blah.
No malicious intent or effort was towards it. No malicious.
We all do a little mad sometimes.
Okay, so nothing like a little rave at 10:28 p.m. on a Thursday night.
And if you don't dance to that, you're crazy.
Right, that whole
When that
song is
comes on,
good.
you can't help it.
Exactly. There's a whole lot more to that song. Hey, MJ's Woofy. The party is here. Woofy
Hey,
is
Woofy.
in. Let the fun begin.
As soon as you play that, makes my knees go like boot up and down.
You just want to dance. Let me give you a little back history about Heather here. Okay. So remember I told you guys that back in the day, not even all that long ago, really, not that long ago, Heather Daybell gave an interview to Hidden True Crime. It's the only interview that she's done. She's been asked to do Dateline. She said no, all the things, right? So last night when I was getting ready for Mimi's, I happened to notice that Hidden True Crime re-uploaded part 1 of that interview. And I said, I haven't watched that in a minute. Let me go ahead and watch it. And I am so glad I did because it got me all prepared for today. Okay.
Yeah.
So Heather married Chad's brother, younger brother. Okay. Heather's younger than Chad. She's married to his younger brother. They were Heather's husband, Chad's brother, Jesus fuck Jen, worked together at the cemetery, but they did other things. It wasn't, Chad makes it out like that's all they did were graveyard sextons. It's not. There were other things that they did aside from digging the graves that were for the community. But Chad really focused on the grave digging part. Like, he just was very obsessed with death. Anyhow, but prior to them getting married, Heather and Chad's brother dated for a very long time, like through high school. So they were young. You know how high school relationships are. It's very hot and very cold, and everything is very, blown out of proportion, and everything is so serious. It really isn't all that serious. So she showed up at the graveyard and she caused a scene, and there was a little bit of an altercation. And ever since then, Chad does not like Heather. Okay. Well, fast forward, Heather and Chad's brother get married, but before they got married, Chad's brother went to him and asked about, what his opinion was about him marrying Heather, and he said it wasn't a good idea. He didn't think he should do it. He said, I just don't have a good feeling about it, in a very Chad way. Well, he didn't pay attention and he married her anyhow. Well, they come from two very different households. In Chad's household, it is very patriarchal. Everything revolves around Chad's father. Whereas Heather's household was very matriarchal, and everything kind of, her mom kind of ran the show. So two completely different worlds. So when they were first married, as all young couples do, and when you're newly married, you have, little issues, and they would vent to their respective families and realized that it was not good for their marriage. So they ended up moving away. They moved from Utah to Ohio, okay, because they felt like they needed to actually be away from their families, that if they only had each other to rely on, that it would make them stronger. And so that's what they did. So when Chad announces that he's moving they want to move to Idaho, particularly, the same neck of the woods that Heather and her husband lived in, Heather was not happy about it. She does not care for Chad. He doesn't care for her. The feeling is mutual. And Heather had started to, how do I put this? Heather had she worked in the church, and she'd started working her way up in the church. She had a lot of responsibility in the Mormon church. And so when Chad started there was nothing stopping Chad. He was going to move in there. There was nothing was going to stop him. So they were like, okay. So I guess at some point, Chad shared with Heather, and she was aware of Julie Rowe, but so it was a difficult position for Heather to be in because of her position within the church, and knowing that her brother-in-law and this other woman, Julie Rowe, who some people have said that there might have been a little something there between Chad and Julie. I don't know. But at the end of the day, it was that in combination with the stuff that they were not just looking into, but actually, having meetings and, all the things that they were doing that would be outside of the purview of the mainstream LDS church, and therefore frowned upon. And so Heather took it upon herself to speak to people within the church. And it came out in the form of an email that then was forwarded to a lot of high-ranking people within the church. And it caused a rift, not only between her and Chad, but also between her and her father-in-law. He's the one that called her a pot stirrer. So there's the backstory, and I didn't get to hear her direct testimony. So we'll listen to a little bit of that. I'll be live for like 30 more minutes, and then I'll let you guys go, and we'll just talk about the rest of it later. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Heather Daybell, HeaterDaybell.
Thank you. And ma'am, for the court and the jury's sake, you recently had some kind of an injury, is that correct?
I had a surgery. I had some artificial discs put in my cervical spine, so my throat's a little scratchy and my neck's in some pain, but
And my understanding is you might require some breaks during your testimony for that reason.
yes.
Okay. So I might invite you, as you feel like you need a break, please alert the court, and then the court will decide if and when to take a break.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Ma'am, you're related to Chad Daybell.
I am. He's my brother-in-law.
And who are you married to?
His younger brother, Matt,
And may I ask, how long have you been married?
will be married 30 years this winter, but we started dating 35 years ago.
Would it be safe to say then you've been acquainted with and known Chad for roughly 35 years?
He was actually on his mission when Matt and I started dating, but I was still in high school and he came home.
Oh, more than 30 years?
30 years.
Was there ever a time since you've been married to Matt that you and Chad and Tammy had lived in the same town?
When Matt and I first got married, we lived in Springville where Chad and Tammy were for a short time.
About how long, the best you can recall?
Maybe that first year, I remember helping them move up to Ogden. I'm not exactly sure. It was early on in Matt and I's marriage.
And then was there any other time subsequent to that you and Chad lived in the same town?
Yes, when they moved to Rexburg in 2015.
So in between the time that they moved to Ogden and the time that they moved to Rexburg, how did you interact with them at family occasions and whatnot?
Yeah, when we'd get together, we'd talk with Tammy and Chad and their kids. Yeah.
Was that something that happened frequently, infrequently?
Probably several times a year. We'd get back to Springville. Not a lot, but we would several times a year.
From your perspective, was it a normal amount of contact?
I would say so. Yeah.
I want to just stop now and ask, how would you describe the nature of your relationship with Chad?
In the beginning, when Matt and I first were married, it was normal as any in-law relationship would be. And then, like I said, we moved away. We didn't live close, but when we get together, we would talk mainly about his books. That seemed to be the topic most of the time of conversation, but I would say cordial and nothing out of the ordinary.
At any point, did the nature of your relationship with him change?
It did.
When
Yes.
did it change?
2014, when he started talking about end of times events and discussing a book that he had published for Julie Rowe.
We'll come back to that, but how did this relationship change at that point?
I was concerned about the things that he was telling the family and telling Matt and I. I was not comfortable with what he was informing us with.
Will you please elaborate to the jury, what were the things that Chad was saying or teaching you that caused you the concerns?
He indicated that there would be an earthquake that would be happening in 2015, and he was kind of making us aware and preparing us for all of these end times events that were going to happen and cause a lot of destruction in Utah, in particular Salt Lake area.
Meanwhile,
Did he explain to you why he believed those events would occur?
because he's a nut. Meanwhile, it's 2024 and ain't shit happened. Just want to point that out, Chad. Your record is terrible at predicting the future. Horrible.
Those were events that Julie Rowe had seen in a near-death experience. And so he had talked about those things with her as he published her book. And then he indicated he was seeing those things in vision as well.
So Chad is someone who had expressed to you and your family these visions that he had.
That he could see beyond the veil and see future events.
Were there other things that he explained to you that caused you concern, other teachings in addition to that?
At that point, it was mainly that. It was just these end of times events and when they would happen.
Later, were there other teachings or things that he would say to you or your family that caused you concern?
When he informed us he was thinking of moving his family to Rexburg in 2014, or 15, whenever that was, it started, we actually had a conversation with him asking him exactly what it was he thought was going to happen. And we had a pretty detailed conversation.
I'd like to pause you there. To the best you can recall, can you tell the jury when did that conversation occur?
that conversation was when they came out, Chad, Tammy, and some of their children came out to Rexburg to look for homes. And Matt and I sat with Chad in our home. That would have been summertime 2015.
And what happened in that conversation?
It was, excuse me, it was asking him point blank to give us the details of why he felt he needed to make this move. And he indicated that, and in particular, the houses that he was looking at were very close to our home, and we had some concerns with that. He told my husband and I that we would become great leaders in this gathering of people that would happen because of all the destruction in Utah, that our land where we lived would help in that, and that our home would become like a church or a temple. He was telling us those kinds of things. And that he felt like he needed to be in Rexburg with his family because the headquarters in Salt Lake of the church would end up having to move to Rexburg when all this destruction happened.
Did he ever explain to you whether he had seen or believed that he would have any kind of a significant role in this?
Mainly just that he would be helping in this gathering of people with their tents and everything, that he would be helping in that cause.
So based on what he was telling you, did he perceive his need to move to Rexburg to be something he could do to fulfill his role?
Yes, that he had a part to play in that. Mhm.
Did you believe these visions or teachings at the time that Chad was sharing?
No, I did not.
And help the jury understand, why was that a concern to you? If you didn't believe them, why was it concerning?
Because he had let us know he was intending, he was going to let people be knowing of this with Julie Rose's book, and trying to prepare people as all this destruction happened, that's why he was coming, and that he felt that we were going to be helping in that cause.
So further, if you don't believe them, why was there a concern that you had that he would be telling everybody about this?
Because in the belief system I had at that time in the LDS church, just some average person doesn't get information specific like that to share with others. In my belief at the time, we had a prophet of the church that would let us know if we needed to do anything to prepare for something like that. So in my understanding and how I had been taught, it wouldn't come through someone like Chad.
So let me ask you this way.
Okay, so this is something that, first of all, let me just say a couple of things really quickly and give some acknowledgments. First, thank you so much to Neat Noodle for gifting a membership. Thank you, No Malicious, for becoming a YouTube member. Thank you, Kathy, for gifting 5 memberships. And thank you, No Malicious, for gifting 10. I appreciate that. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate that. Okay. At the end, I'll play.
I got one.
I
Thank
know
you.
you. Allie's a member. Woohoo!
I usually
I
am
know,
a
me
member, but
too.
it just,
I have to renew mine to yours too.
well, and then when I saw like YouTube pops up, like, you want to renew your membership, and I was live, so I couldn't press it because I didn't know if it was going to show my payment options and stuff. So I just put later, and then, yeah.
And then you got
this
distracted
happened.
like
So, yay,
me.
Thanks. Well, no, that was like yesterday, and then I forgot about it until
That's what happens to me
tonight, and then boom, yeah.
Boom, you got it.
So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I forgot what I was gonna. Oh, I was gonna say something about this whole. Okay, this is the part I don't understand. Okay, how does somebody in the LDS church elevate to the position of the prophet? The prophet is, I guess, the closest thing to the prophet would be how I can understand it is like the Pope for the Catholics, the leader of the church of all the places, of all the whole of all the churches in the Mormon faith. But how does one get to that position? You know, isn't everybody born like sort of at the same state? They're a member of the LDS church. How do you get from being a regular member all the way up to being the prophet, right? So if if everybody starts out evenly, then why couldn't, I don't believe Chad saw shit, but I don't understand why Chad would not be able to have, or anybody for that matter. I don't know. It just doesn't, I don't
Well, I
be
know
able
you
to
ain't
have
asking me
visions.
because you're the one who tells me all about all this stuff. So I can't tell you.
Like I
learn
know
about
how
this from you. So
yeah, I know how the Pope gets to be the Pope. That I know. Hey Patricia.
hey, Patricia.
Good to see. That's what I was thinking. It's politics. Yeah, yeah. But but I have never heard a priest say out loud anyway, or anywhere I've ever heard it, that if you pray to God, God won't God will only speak to the Pope. I've never heard a priest say that if you pray, if you pray to God, you're not going to actually hear him. He's not going to speak to you directly. He speaks to the Pope. That was my issue with the Catholic Church to begin with, is that why church in general, let me just be honest, church in general, I didn't ever feel like I needed a middle person to speak to God. I always felt like, well, why can't I just speak directly?
Yeah.
So that was always my issue, but I've never heard a priest say that you can't, that won't happen. You know what I mean? Like he would only speak to me. I've never heard a priest say that. I don't understand it.
No, yeah, it doesn't. I won't even get into it. I know what you mean, though. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But you see how she words it. Now I want you to know, I don't think that Heather belongs to the LDS church any longer. I think that she's left the church, but in that moment, in that moment, a lot of it has to do with, this is something that I don't think that they get into, if I'm remembering correctly, Hidden True Crime doesn't get into it with Heather really until like the second interview, the second part. It's all one interview, but they, split it into parts, where she talks about part of the reason that she started to feel some type of way is because she was telling and and telling the people around her, the people in the position, and then escalating, the call, as it were, to the managers, to let them know what Chad was doing, what he was up to, because when Chad first started, he was buds with Julie Rowe, and she was kind of running things, but then then he got away from her. But it's not like Chad was telling a lot of people these things, these ideas that he had. He was, he was coming and speaking at conferences about his near-death experience. Now, was he telling everybody all of the things the same way that like Lori knew, or really the inner circle, like Melanie Gibb, Melanie P, all those people? No. But he was saying that he could see beyond the veil. And Heather was trying to warn people, was trying to warn the church officials to, maybe get ahead of this. And maybe this wouldn't have happened also. She even tried to help. And that's, I've seen her tickety talks. No, malicious. That's her and Corey Feldman, man. They're doing the most, or were. Here we go. Okay.
If you didn't believe these things, why do you need to care about it if he's out teaching this stuff to people?
Because my opinion was that was incorrect, and that he was spreading that around to other church members. And that's, as I was taught, you don't do that.
Okay. So during this conversation that you were referring to in your home, did you ever confront Chad or tell him that you don't believe these things?
I did. I told him that I wasn't feeling good about what he was saying, and that I did. I was very blunt. I just flat out said, I don't believe what you're saying.
What was his reaction to you?
Chad doesn't show a lot of reaction, so it was just, okay, that was about it. He didn't argue or anything like that.
Did you express concerns about whether or not he should move near you?
Yes, Matt and I both did that. We decided years and years ago that we wanted to live apart from family. We do better that way as a couple, and had made a home for ourselves in Rexburg. We'd been in the area 15 years at that point. And we did express to him as he was looking at homes near us that if he needed to move to Rexburg, that was fine. Please just move somewhere not right in our neighborhood and not in our ward.
Damn. Okay, I find that not what she just now said. That's just kind of funny, but I do find what she said prior to that kind of interesting, because that he's not reactive, and yet he sounded to be sobbing when he called 911 to report Tammy Daybell's death. So that's him. And he had literally no reaction when they found JJ and Tylee's bodies in his backyard. I just find that to be interesting.
Why was it important to you that he not move in your neighborhood and ward?
Because I knew why he was coming, and I didn't want him trying to draw in people from my ward, and having people associate his close proximity to us that we were involved or agreed with him.
Would it be fair to say, were there reputational concerns for you and your family?
We've built a business in Rexburg. We've made a good name for ourselves and didn't want there to be issues because of what Chad was coming with.
How did the conversation end?
We had gone and looked at homes. The conversation at that point, they said they didn't find a home that they liked. And so they just kind of put it all on pause, asked if they could store their stuff in a shed or something at our house in case they needed to quickly come to Rexburg. They'd have some supplies there. We told them they could do that. So when they left from that trip, we were under the impression that they wouldn't be moving soon.
Excuse me. So having explained all this at that point, how would you then describe your relationship with Chad at that point?
I was relieved at that point, so I kind of didn't worry about it because he indicated they wouldn't be coming. So, but to me, it felt, I don't know if I'd even say, well, it was strained. It was strained at that point. I was struggling.
How was it strained? Could you explain that?
Again, it was just my concerns with his trying to convince his family and others that these events were going to happen. And so as he wasn't going to let up on that he was quite certain. We asked him, is this happening? And he said, this is happening. And so,
may I interrupt you?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by this is happening?
All of these events, the earthquake and everything, that those things were happening in 2015.
Did you later learn that he and Tammy did have immediate plans to move to Rexburg?
It was shortly after that. I can't remember for sure. It was about a week or two. We did get a phone call that they had put an offer on the home that they bought and that they were moving.
And approximately when did that happen?
That would be summer 2015. I can't remember exactly if it was July, August. I don't remember for sure.
When you found out about that, what was your reaction? What did you do?
I cried. I was very upset. Asked my husband to please talk him out of it, but the home was already in process of being bought at that point. So there wasn't anything that I could do about it.
And we'll come back to that for a moment. Can you please explain to the jury what at the time that Chad started having these visions and sharing them in 2014 or 15, what was your relationship like with Tammy?
About the same. We were cordial and friendly, and when we'd see each other at family events, we would visit, just normal.
Did that ever change?
Once they moved to Rexburg, because she knew we weren't happy about that move, we talked and things as they moved, and I tried to do a few things to help her. So I wouldn't say off the bat that it was strained with Tammy. That progressed as time went on.
And likewise, to go back on something you mentioned, I think you said Chad was teaching these things to his own family.
That's the understanding I had. Yeah.
Did you ever get any sense of whether or not his wife and children were believing these things?
In a conversation I had with Chad and Tammy, it was Chad that indicated that he would come home with these visions and he'd say new things, and she'd kind of look at him and roll her eyes, but then she would go pray on it and get an answer that he was right. So especially concerning the move to Rexburg, she indicated that's how that went, is that he would come home with things, should be.
Sustained.
Did you get any of this information from Chad, or was it just from Tammy?
Well, the information of him receiving visions and bringing it to her and her kind of rolling her eyes, that was from Chad. He said that to me.
Okay. Did he explain that Tammy would ever change her mind?
I don't recall him saying she'd change her mind. I don't recall that.
All right, I've kept you guys almost 2 hours, and I want to finish this. So trying to think when I can do this, because we have calls too. And I want to do Karen Reed, but it's Allie's turn to do Karen Reed. So I'll figure out some kind of schedule, and I'll finish up. Hopefully Allie can be up here with me then too. But if not, it'll just be me by myself. But I want to finish this. But I know you guys. It's late for all of you, but it's really late for Allie, and she's got kiddos, and I want to make sure,
Well, I'm okay, but yeah, I'm all right.
well,
But
I know you're all
so
right now, but in like 30 minutes, you're going to be like too tired. It's late for you, and I don't want to keep you because I know how it'll be tomorrow. You'll be exhausted, and I don't want to do that to you.
Yeah, you're right. I'll be sleeping until freaking 11 o'clock. Today, I fell asleep watching Karen Reed, the freaking prosecutor, man. During the defense, I could not fall asleep. Like, I'm hooked on every word. I don't know why. I think the guy just speaks with more passion, and the prosecutor is more monotone, and he just puts me to freaking sleep for real, literally.
I've had some struggles in that department as well, but then I remember I've got to pay attention. I've got to pay attention, so I get up and move around. But this thing with this testimony that Heather is giving is quite interesting to me because it's particularly with respect to Tammy.
Yeah.
We are going to get into that more, but she did leave a little breadcrumb, which it'll be, it obviously for anybody that's been watching the trial, it's not really a breadcrumb because you guys already know, but, and it happened before, I guess. So this would be for, if you haven't seen it, it's a breadcrumb. If you have seen it, it's confirmation. But I myself have suspected, I wish you didn't hear no toot from me. Carol Claus thinks she heard a toot, Allie.
Didn't hear a toot from me either. No.
I don't know what you think you heard, Carol freaking Claus, but I know how to mute.
It took me a second to realize what y'all were talking about. I was like,
yeah, I didn't hear anything like
So,
that.
no,
I didn't hear. I
me
heard a
neither.
little zzz from like outside, like a robot-y noise, but not a toot. Anyway, now I'm distracted because I'm trying to figure.
Me too. I was just sitting here cleaning off my earbuds because they died. So now I got you on speakerphone, and I was just cleaning my earbuds.
Chicken Shite said it was them. Also, sexy wild thing McLevin freaking babyface Claus. You know what they say, the one who smelt it death it. With Tammy, it's never been quite clear. It was definitely not clear from Lori's trial, just exactly what it was that Tammy believed. A lot, it's been hinted at, it's been skirted around, it's been sort of left ambiguously, but there is testimony that I think might actually answer that question for us. But I do want to listen and finish up with Heather, so I will figure out a way to schedule it where it's good for everybody, plus the calls. Because Allie and I have kind
Yeah.
of a thing we want to do with that, with the calls and the video visits, for you guys. So, but I have to, that will take me, won't take me that long. Might take me an hour maybe to do. Anyway, so I
Waiting
want
on our
to,
new stuff.
and we got new, yeah. Have we heard back from her, by the way?
I'm checking right now, actually.
Because I feel like it's been a while. I feel like Meg Griffin over here. A while. See, this, I will tell
No,
you
nothing
guys
yet.
this one thing about the iPhone that I don't particularly care for. Even though I have set Gmail to be my default mail, I don't always get, not on the iPhone. On the iPad, I get notified for Gmail, but I don't on my phone. Cool whip. Wheaten.
Yeah.
Wheat thins.
I just
Oh, man.
forgot about something that I have to do before midnight for Bentley's school. Dang it.
Oh shit, you better do it.
I know. It's like you have to do a donation by May 2nd. So that's why I said midnight. So they can participate. And how wrong is, like, excuse me, that's just rude, but whatever.
Yeah. I know. I need to, my nephew is graduating from high school, and I need to get a graduation card and have it sent out by May 5th, which I think is a weekend before, because I'm running on a deadline so that he'll get it. How do I need a gas X sponsor? I haven't even been tooting.
Who said that? I can't say
Keith did. Keith W. Long overdue.
Thanks a lot, Claus. Nobody.
Yeah, now look what you've started. Now everybody's going to be running around these YouTube streets talking about Jen Lou tooted on her live when I did not. Rude. Rude. So yeah, we'll figure it out.
I didn't too.
I didn't
Wasn't
toot
me,
either.
so.
If I did, I would say that I did. I'd be like, listen, I am 47 years old, and if I accidentally tooted on a live and forgot to press mute, my bad. But I would own it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you though. Usually, Christy just. Oh, never mind.
What did
not
Christy
me.
say?
About the toot. I got a text about the toot.
Was it you? Do they think it was you? Is what
No,
I'm
it wasn't
saying.
me. I don't know. I think it was just a joke. It wasn't me. I didn't hear anything that even sounded like a toot. And no, I'm over here trying to hurry up and donate to this thing. But yeah, I got
Didn't MJ have a panel where they heard a toot and they watched, and Melissa went back and clipped it to see at the moment the toot was heard whose bubble vibrated?
Yeah, they do they do that all the time.
Oh my God. Anywho, okay. All right. So something is making me cough. Yeah, I need to quit smoking, but oh well. That ain't happening today.
You sound like me. I'm going to. I really
Yeah,
am. I really.
I just need to get
but-
through the holidays. Every fucking holiday. What's coming up next? I can't be quitting smoking. I got Cinco de Mayo. Then we have Memorial Day. Then after that is going to be the 4th of July. And then Labor Day. I can't. I need to get through the holidays. Oh my goodness. All right, you guys. Well, thank you all. So Flag Day, exactly. No, malicious, you get it. I appreciate everybody being here so very, very much.
Yes, me too.
And thank you for the
I can't wait to
memberships. I
see the rest.
appreciate that. Yes. Oh, we're going to talk about it and the Tammy stuff because there is a lot to unpack there. And we've got calls and video calls and stuff to do. We have a lot of stuff that we need to get through. Plus Karen Reed tomorrow on Allie's channel. So I'm super excited for all of that. Anywho, thank you guys all very, very much for being here. Have a great rest of your Thursday night. And I will see all of you back here tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you.
Oh, and Allie,
Bye.
thank you for coming up, babe. I always forget
Okay,
that.
thank you for having me.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
You're
All right,
welcome.
bye.
Bye.